Welcome back to Golf Subpar with Colt, Knost, and Drew Stoltz. The regular season on the PGA Tour is in the books, and Cam Young went out with a bang. As we like to say here on Subpar, he was zoned in, like our friends over at Zone Nicotine. Sleaze, this man put on a dominating performance, won by 6. At one point, the lead on Sunday was up to 9. This is a guy that has had 7 runner-up finishes in his PGA Tour career and finally crossed the finish line in, I would say, just gave the field a beat down. It was something special to watch. But what'd you think of Cam Young's performance out at the Wyndham Championship?
Well, 7 runner-up finishes, like you mentioned, $19 million in earnings, which I think is a record before getting the first win on the PGA Tour. Beat the shit out of everyone. And when you watch him, like, I don't even look at the 6. Like, he was up 9. The thing was dead. It was over. And he kind of limped home. Wins by 6. Could have won by the most on the PGA Tour this year. But when you watch him play, especially like he did this past week, where he was just on the entire week, I look at him like, what? Why hasn't this come out before? Like, I know he's had 7 runner-up finishes, and in a lot of those, he gets hate because, like, oh, he can't close the door. If you go back and look at a lot of those, like, somebody played awesome, like, really, really good. Mm-hmm. And he didn't necessarily play terrible on a Sunday. But you watch him, and you're like, I mean, he rips it off the tee, well over 180-plus ball speed. He's 6th in strokes gained putting this year. It's just like, man, like, it was a couple years ago, we were predicting this guy to win all the time, and it's taken a while. But now that he's there, he's definitely injected himself into that Ryder Cup conversation. Don't know if you know this, Colt. He's from New York. The Ryder Cup also in New York this year.
Yes, grew up at Sleepy Hollow. What a fantastic place that is, where his dad's the head pro there. Yeah, man, it was special. We've been waiting on this to happen. He's been on the President's Cup team, was left off the Ryder Cup team the last time, and he was 9th in points. He's up to 15th right now. Still got some work to do, but when you go out and win like that, and he's trending in such a nice direction, he's definitely got Keegan Bradley's attention. But man, it's special to watch. I thought when he bogeyed the first hole on Sunday, when he went with the 5-shot lead, I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then all of a sudden, boom, rattles off the Pink Panther, 5 birdies in a row, and just put this thing to bed. I heard some large lady warming up the vocal cords on about the 4th hole. Like, this thing was a fucking wrap. And just very impressed by Cam Young's performance. Interested to see what he does going forward. I mean, he had a chance at St. Andrews at the Open Championship, played great on Sunday there. He's a stud, man. I hate using, open the floodgates, as a lot of people do, but I do think this is going to free him up to go out there and play some really good golf. My question is just like, does he enjoy it out there? Like, even after the win, he didn't even smile when he tapped in the putt to get his first win on the PGA Tour.
It was the most on-brand non-celebration of all time. It looked like it was Thursday morning and he shot 73. When he tapped in for his first win, 7 runner-ups, all this stuff. I refuse to ever use the word floodgates. It just doesn't seem to work like that. Do I think this makes it easier for him? I don't know. He had comment. I honestly don't think that this was like a burden weighing on him. I don't think he pays attention to shit that's going on social media. He gave some quotes afterwards. It was like, yeah, of course I want to win, but this isn't something that's like weighing on me. I think he's going to continue to be Cam Young just the way he is. He's got unbelievable talent. I think getting over the finish line, of course, makes it easier the next time you're there, but I don't think this is like, whew. Like when Rory won the Grand Slam, I think you could feel it. You could see it. It was like, oh my God, thank Jesus. I finally won this tournament after every year I come here. They expect me to get it done. That was like a weight off the shoulder, monkey off the back. This just felt like a guy that just won a golf tournament. I don't even think it was weighing on him all that much from what I could gather.
One of the comparisons we talked about on the broadcast was David Duval, who also had 7 runner-up finishes before he finally broke through and got a win. And I know Jim Nantz mentioned, like, people said, oh, the floodgates could open. Well, it did for David Duval, because once he won that first one, he won his next 2 tournaments on the PGA Tour. Ended up, I believe, with 13 wins in his career, major champion, and was world number 1. But he's also that stoic guy, doesn't really give you anything, hides behind the shades, no facial expressions, and it reminds me a lot of Cam Young.
Yeah, there's some of that in there, and it has happened before where a guy waits a long time to win, and then boom, all of a sudden they start winning pretty regularly. But I feel like that floodgates or, this is going to open him up. It gets used all the time. Anytime a guy wins for the first time on the PGA Tour, who's a good player, obviously, or else you're not winning on the PGA Tour, it just gets thrown out a ton. And honestly, for Cam Young, I feel like it was less of a burden for him to pick up that first win than for a lot of people, just because, like I said, I don't think he gives a shit about the narratives that are around him. I think he just does his own thing.
Yeah, I think the much more exciting narrative from last week was the FedEx Cup playoffs and who was going to get in, who was going to move out. One person moved in from outside the top 70. That was Chris Kirk. Ben On moved out. Matty Schmidt birdied 16, 17, and 18 to hold his position on the bubble at number 70. Gary Woodland had a chance there, it looked like, for a little bit to play his way in. Mark Hubbard shoots a final round 63, which included parring his last 5 holes, just missed out by one single shot. But a really good week from Mark Hubbard. Mac Meisner from SMU, best finish of his PGA Tour career, finished second, went from 159th to inside the top 90, which is huge for him just to keep his job for 2026. But exciting stuff going on there. But at the end of the day, it was all about Cam Young.
Yeah. Davis Thompson, the 3-putt on the 72nd. That one was a tough one. It's not as dramatic as it used to be when this was like the end of the season, top 125. You're either on the PGA Tour, you're not. And it would always come down to like the 71st, 72nd hole, and it was crazy drama. This isn't quite the same. Davis Thompson still going to have a job, does miss out on the playoffs, would have needed a monster week in Memphis to continue on in that. But it does matter, and that was a tough one to watch there.
Yeah, and well, we're on to Memphis, the first round of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Gonna be nice and cool at TPC Southwind. I saw a high of 95 every day, no wind, will be humid as shit. Guys are gonna be sweating like crazy, dipping their hands in the cooler. It's just gross. But 70 guys trying to get in that top 50, which 50 is the number, man. I know Tour Championship is great and all, but 50 is the number. Get you in all the signature events for 2026. A lot to play for. A guy I know you'll be keeping your eye on, Wyndham Clark, sits at number 49 heading into Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's a lot of like kind of subplots right now. You got the top 50 in there, and I think the Ryder Cup bubble is enormous right now. You just mentioned Wyndham Clark. He's on the outside looking in. I think Chris Goddard, Cam Young are kind of in a similar spot, like very close, but still need to do, make a little noise in the playoffs. I think Keegan Bradley's spot is still somewhat questionable. I mean, there's a lot of stuff still going on in this right now. So a lot to play for these next couple of weeks. One guy who doesn't have a whole lot to play for, so he's not showing up. Rory McIlroy, not going to be there. Thoughts on Rory skipping out on a little FedEx playoff event?
Yeah, so obviously they've changed the format of the Tour Championship and the FedEx Cup finale. It is now straight up, as our friend Connor Trias likes to say. Everybody starts at 0. Rory's like, I'm going to be there. I don't need to go to Memphis and sweat my ass off and grind it out. I'll go to Caves Valley, play the last 2, and try to win another FedEx Cup title. It sucks, I think, for FedEx and just for the whole thing. Like, so many guys are grinding to make the playoffs. I know Rory never thinks about having to make the playoffs, but this is when your stars should be there. And I do love that on the PGA Tour, you can pick and choose where you play. You get to be the boss. But when it comes to the playoffs, I really wish all the stars were there.
It's tough for the PGA Tour to market this as like the biggest thing, the race to the FedEx Cup playoffs, the race to East Lake. This is the biggest thing we got. And then it shows up, it's finally here. It's like, oh, by the way, one of the biggest stars in the game won't be playing. It's not mandatory. I think with East Lake going to where everybody starts, at level par, you might see this a little bit more with some of the top guys going forward. I'll say this, though, and tell me what you think of this. I care about him skipping this event less than I do the signature events that he's skipped in the past, because he was one of the ringleaders for putting that in place. Hey, we need smaller fields. We need more money. Let's take care of our stars. He was the guy for that. And then what does he do? Like, he's missed RBC a couple times. The one that shocked me this year is he skipped Mr. Nicklaus's tournament at Memorial. I was like, dude, you're the guy in there lobbying for this. You're a big reason that this went through. I think it's a bigger deal missing those, honestly, than the FedEx Cup playoffs. And he, by the way, before they made him non-mandatory, like he skipped RBC and was like, screw it, I'll just pay $3 million. Like, he's made so much money, like it doesn't matter at this point.
Well, most of these guys, that's how it is now. Like, the money, they don't look at the purse and say, oh, this one's $8 million, this one's $10 million, I'm going to play that one. Like, the $20 million, I get it. It's going to get a lot of people's attention, but guys like Rory and Scotty, that stuff doesn't matter. I mean, Scotty, he's been very open, like how much the Byron Nelson means to him. The next week was a signature event at Philly Cricket Club, the Truist Championship, $20 million purse versus a $9 million purse. Scotty doesn't care. Scotty probably doesn't even know how much he wins each time he wins. Like, he does not pay one bit of attention. It's all about what means the most to him, what tournaments fit best in his schedule. The money just, it's a non-factor now. That's why I just wish the PGA Tour would just go back to, if you have a PGA Tour card, you're eligible for these events. I'm fine with, if the signatures you want to go to like 100 people and you cut to 60 or 65. And then the full field events are 120 or 132. So then, yes, it is. You do have to earn your way into those signature events for the most part, but open these things up. Let's have everyone battling it out. Let's give everybody the same chance. Like when you're in the top 50 and you're playing those signature events, you're playing a whole different tour than like the guys that are coming out as a rookie off the Korn Ferry Tour.
You got to work if you're in that top 50 to fall out and lose your PGA Tour card. I think Matthew Pavone has done exactly that this year, but otherwise, like, it's hard to do. And I think you hit the nail on that. I would love to see 100-man fields. If you keep your PGA Tour card, I should be on a level playing field with the superstars. I should at least have the chance to play against them. That's the way it used to be. And now it's like, does Scotty Scheffler need the 80th ranked guy on the PGA Tour to not be in the field so that we can protect the stars? Like, he's the best player in the world. It doesn't matter. The stars are the stars because they beat everyone. I don't know why we're making it impossible for these guys that are outside of that number to even have a chance to compete with them. If you keep your tour card, especially now they've cut it to 100, Colt, it's just like, dude, can we just play the same events more or less? And then open up, like you said, open the other ones up to 125.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can tell you this. Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, they're going to be at the Ryder Cup in just 52 days, and you can too. Because picture this. You're at the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black, and later that night, you're hanging with us in the heart of New York City, swinging at simulators, sipping cocktails, and recapping all the action.
Yes, it is happening, and you're invited.
The Ryder Cup is headed to Bethpage Black in 2025, and this time, we're going with you.
That's right. Thanks to our friends at On Location, the official travel package provider of the Ryder Cup, we're bringing the Subpar podcast to New York, and we've teamed up for an experience you're not going to want to miss.
You can now score official daily ticket packages that come with Ryder Cup tickets. That's your ticket to the grounds, access to the International Pavilion hospitality area, plus entry to an exclusive night event at 5 Iron Golf's Grand Central location.
And we'll be there hanging with fans, recording daily recap episodes with some special guests, and just soaking in the energy of Ryder Cup week.
This isn't your average watch party. We're talking premium simulators, a Callaway club fitting, light bites, beer, wine, and a custom cocktail, all in the heart of Manhattan.
Just head to onlocationexp.com/subpar and select your daily ticket package to the Grand Central experience. You'll find complete package details there, including everything that's included and what to expect during Ryder Cup week.
Packages are limited. Don't miss your chance to be a part of this unforgettable Ryder Cup week with us. Again, that's onlocationexp.com/subpar.
And just a quick heads up, Subpar is not directly affiliated with the PGA of America or the 2025 Ryder Cup. All packages are provided by On Location, the official travel package provider of the PGA of America and the 2025 Ryder Cup.
You can find full details and policies at onlocationexp.com. Subpar is not directly affiliated with the PGA of America or the 2025 Ryder Cup. All packages and discounts mentioned in this episode are provided by On Location, the official travel package provider of the PGA of America and the 2025 Ryder Cup. 2025 Ryder Cup daily ticket packages offered by On Location at onlocationexp.com/subpar are subject to availability. Full purchase and privacy policy details are available at onlocationexp.com. It's going to be an awesome week there, man. Can't wait for the Ryder Cup. We're going to be there all week. We're on the coverage for the SiriusXM as well as doing this great event for On Location, as well as our friends over at Zone. All right, Sleeves, one last thing before we get to our guest this week. And these bad boys right here, my Shady Rays, came in handy last week because there was a lot of tears at the Wyndham Championship. My good friend Ian Baker-Finch doing his last ever broadcast for CBS. 30 years in the booth, 19 of them with CBS. It was emotional. A lot of tributes to him. The tears were flowing. So I had to cover my eyes with my Shady Rays so people couldn't see the tears. And Shady Rays offers high-performance sunglasses built with golfers in mind. The Green Wolf collection has semi-polarized lenses to cut glare while increasing clarity. Enhances contrast on course. Tint designed to enhance readability. Lightweight, comfortable with rubber nose pads and snap pin hinges, so they stay in place during your swing. 30-day risk-free returns and exchanges. Head to shadyrays.com and use code SUBPAR for 35% off sunglasses. Yes, I needed them very much, Sleaze. It was an emotional week out there. Shout out to IBF for an amazing career. So much fun spending the weekend with him, celebrating with him. We had an awesome team dinner Saturday night. They made an awesome video of him that we got to see some old school Ian Baker-Finch clips and just share stories. It was an emotional one, but it was a fun one. I thought it was just beautiful how Jim Nantz allowed Ian Baker-Finch to call the final putt of the tournament when Cam Young tapped in for his first win. I will say this, Jim Nantz, who's just so good with his words, we were joking before Saturday night before we headed into the final show, but Cam Young with the massive lead. And he wanted to say, out with the old and in with the young, as Ian Baker-Finch was making his exit. But obviously that was just a little joke behind the scenes. But that's how good Jim Nantz is. He comes up with stuff like that. But awesome week for Finchy, man. It was tough for our crew, but a lot of fun, and it was awesome to celebrate him.
30 years strong for the man. And he's one of the few that, like, there's been a lot of good people in television across the board, but it's hard to find somebody that seems like everyone likes, especially this day and age. And Ian Baker-Finch, from the players to the other people in media, his peers, it seems like I don't hear anyone ever say a bad word about Ian Baker-Finch. So congrats on a great run, my man, and enjoy the time off.
Yeah, you saw, I mean, the messages from Mr. Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Commissioner Monahan, everybody. I mean, the amount of people that stopped into the Super Tower to say goodbye to Finchy and, like, thank you for everything you've done. I told you on our radio show earlier today, our good friend John McGinnis, who's one of the best in the business, we were on the range sitting there watching guys warm up, and John just comes over, and he's just always so great with his words, and he just walked up and he said, Finchy, you left it better than you found it. And I was like, that's perfect. Awesome way to say it.
No doubt about it. Two of the greats right there, John and McGinnis included.
Yeah, 30 years. Can't imagine. But Finchy, hope you enjoy retirement, my man. I know you're going to be playing a lot of golf and spending time with those grandkids, but it's been a pleasure working alongside you. Let's get to our guest this week. This is an interesting one here. I like this a lot. So Hudson Swafford, one of the guys who can actually tell us what it's like playing over at LIV. Played on the PGA Tour, won 3 times, went over to LIV, has dealt with some injuries, played a couple of seasons over there. Now trying to figure out what's next. How does he come back to professional golf? Here's Hudson Swafford on Golf Subpar.
All right, folks, our guest today spent 8 years on the PGA Tour, where he was a 3-time winner out of the University of Georgia. Spent the last 3 years playing on the LIV Tour. He's now dipping his toes into the business world, which we're going to learn a little bit more about today on the show as well. Hudson Swafford joins us. Hud, good to be with you, buddy.
What's up, boys? Y'all doing all right?
Everything is fantastic. Good to be with you. We actually ran into you in New York City a few weeks ago, had a few cocktails, turned into quite the evening, I would say.
It was an epic evening. I went from a nice quiet dinner with my wife to texting Colt and figuring out where our next shot was. So it was a great evening.
Yeah, those nights tend to happen, but it was always great to catch up with you. Sleaze mentioned you're not playing golf at the moment. You're talking about the business world a little bit. What are we doing?
So I'm working in real estate, actually, multifamily, working with a vertically integrated company, Hathaway Companies out of Atlanta, and grinding in the multifamily world, actually enjoying it. It's a good company, a lot of great guys part of it. So it's been fun.
Yeah, it's a different world, and it's for the first time since you were a child, I would assume. You're not playing a golf tournament. You're not getting ready for a golf tournament. How have you enjoyed it, like stepping away?
It's actually been good, Sleaze. I was struggling with my golf, as my scores reflected, especially on LIV there the last few years. I've been in a pretty bad place with golf. So doing something new is very refreshing, and putting a lot of time and energy into that has been great. It's kind of allowed me to kind of step back, hang out more with the family. Golf, don't get me wrong, golf is amazing, competing at the highest levels, the best, but it's very tough on a family life, and I have 3 kids. So seeing that aspect and being around a lot more has really been kind of eye-opening, and it's been actually really, really enjoyable.
I think that's one of the, there are very few downsides, I would say, to playing golf at the highest level, but the family situation, traveling so much as you do, like obviously LIV, you played a lot less, but on the PGA Tour, playing 25 to 30 weeks a year, I mean, It's difficult to travel with your family, especially when they start getting in school and everything. But that's the one thing I don't think people realize. Like, it's not the easiest job in the world, even though it's so great. And I think that's what was so awesome about what Scotty Scheffler said last week heading into the Open Championship.
I couldn't agree more with you, and I couldn't agree more with him. I mean, he's spot on. Like, everybody sees maybe the top 15 players in the world and what they do each and every week, and They play great. They make lots of money. But honestly, like, there's a lot of good players out there, and there's a lot of players that are, succeeding on the PGA Tour that have families, and it is a tough family dynamic. Not everybody's just getting on their own Gulfstream going, wherever. And I mean, you're staying in like 2 or 3 hotel rooms, and you get there, Monday night, and the weeks are long, and then you're not going home the next week. You pack up and go to the next event. So my family traveled with me when we just had one son, and our oldest. When we had our daughter, things became a little bit tougher with 2. So yeah, people don't see that, don't realize that, don't take that in account. And, Scotty's really has kind of shed some light on that, being in his position, number one, playing the golf that he's playing. And, he's pretty vocal of having his family around, having a son around. So yeah, it's not an easy task, traveling, playing really good golf, and being a parent all at the same time.
Yeah, it ain't an easy job for the family. As far as family, it's a little easier when you're Scotty Scheffler and you make $60 million a year and you can fly wherever. It gets a little easier for the average guy. It's damn near impossible. But Hud, you're doing the real estate thing right now. You said your golf game hasn't been in a good place. You may end up just loving real estate and staying there for the rest of your life. But do you have ambitions right now? Like, is there hope? Do you like, hey man, I really actually would like to get back to playing golf for a living?
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to rule it out. Like, golf's been amazing to me. Like I said, won 3 times, won 1 time, won the Nationwide then. But yeah, I love golf. Like, I'm not going to completely close it out. I got into a bad rut with my golf swing, was doing a bunch of stuff that wasn't quite me, and I really struggled and couldn't quite make the changes that, I thought that was going to help me and propel me to, be a better player, and kind of took a couple steps backwards. And it was at a kind of an unfortunate time in my career. But, I'm still having fun with it, and still, kind of trying to learn and get out of that rut. And once I get past that, I'm not going to rule out anything. But the road back to professional golf is a little blurry at the moment. So we'll kind of see, and I just kind of go and take it, one step at a time, and see what that actually has.
Yeah, we'll get into the pathway back here in a little bit, but I want to ask, because this always fascinates me, because I mean, golfers are just crazy, right? You won 3 times on the PGA Tour. That's not easy. Not a lot of people have won 3 times. Why the hell do golfers change things when things are going well?
I don't know. I don't know.
Great answer.
I thought the grass might be a little greener. I was, with Scott Hamilton for 7 years, had a lot of success with him, made a couple changes. Maybe, my wedge game was always kind of the thing that kind of just slowed me a little bit. So I was changing to do something that, made me a little bit better wedge player. And, it crept into my long game. I feel like I was one of the best drivers of the golf ball, one of the best long irons players in the game. And that definitely took a little bit of a hit, I will be honest. So I don't know. Colt, I can't answer that. I just feel like you should really own what you're good at and micromanage the stuff that you're, maybe not as good at. And, put a lot of emphasis on your good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild to look back. I mean, obviously Tiger Woods is a whole nother level. Like, he's a freak, but like the fact that Tiger Woods would ever change his golf swing from what he did in the year 2000 just will always boggle my mind. I just think he got to the point, he was so good he got bored.
Yeah, he needed a challenge. I mean, for sure. And I think we all do. Like, you want to, I wasn't number 1 in the world, so I was playing in majors, but I wanted to play better in majors. I wanted to, get farther out the world ranking. So, I thought I was doing something that could be for the better. I kind of took for granted what I did, all my good strengths. I was like, nothing's going to really hinder that. And, I was wrong on that, but, I'd also have had a number of injuries kind of through the game, and through sports. So body dynamics change as you get older. So you do have to make a few changes on the fly. When when that kind of stuff happens. So, I thought I was doing it for the better. I'm not saying that it's not. This is just a very rough period, and the timing of it was not the best. But I'm not saying that it's ever over.
Yeah, was it 2 years ago you had the injury that caused you to miss like most of maybe the entire LIV season? Are you good from that now? Like if you go out and play right now, is there any concerns physically?
Yeah, no. So I had a right hip surgery, and it honestly, my left one probably bothers me more than my right. My right doesn't bother me at all. Had very successful surgery in Nashville with Dr. Bird, and he did a great job. I feel like I, did everything in the rehab process and really, really hammered it out and did a good job. And then still just kind of struggled. I think I just kind of got in some bad habits before that injury, and I just couldn't shake them. And then going back and competing on, the LIV, which, I mean, people can say what they want, but the fields are pretty strong over there, and you can't just kind of fake it around. And then I just kind of got in the middle of the season, and I was showing up, and I was grinding. I felt like I was doing all the right things and just not having a chance to compete. I mean, it was a miserable place.
Before we get back to our interview, a quick note from Pinehurst, the home of American golf. With nearly 40 golf courses within a 15-mile radius, including the iconic and U.S. Open anchor site, Pinehurst Resort, now is the time to make plans to play the Sandhills of North Carolina. Aside from the golf, explore the area's 5 breweries, new destination distillery, the impeccable local dining scene, outdoor adventure, and much, much more. Plan your next golf trip and check out the latest packages and some suggested itineraries at homeofgolf.com. Be sure to also stop by the World Golf Hall of Fame and USGA Experience at Golf House Pinehurst. Find it all at homeofgolf.com. That's homeofgolf.com. Now, back to Hudson Swafford.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that decision to go to LIV, because I know it wasn't easy. I mean, you're 3-time winner on the PGA Tour. This LIV Tour comes along, obviously throwing around a bunch of money. But take us through that whole decision, like when they reached out, and what was it like talking with your family and friends about making that move over to the LIV Tour, which I know I'm sure you probably received quite a bit of heat about.
Yeah. Oh man, it was definitely a tough decision. I was in talks with them, I want to say maybe mid-March, second week of March or whatnot. And I was intrigued by it, just because we would sit around, after rounds and having lunch and all of our concerns about the tour. And, everybody feels like we play too much. There's too many playing opportunities, which you don't want to decrease playing opportunities, but playing to the week before Thanksgiving can be a little difficult. There's no time to really take a break. And then, so we would always come up with these ideas. And then, finally somebody came along that wants to challenge the PGA Tour and maybe force the PGA Tour's hand a little bit to kind of listen to the players a little bit more. And, they want a break. The best in the world want to take a little bit of a break, get away from it. Like this game, you just will beat your head into the wall time after time if you're just doing it each and every week. So I was intrigued about the competition. I was intrigued by, I like the team component thing. I think it's, outside the box thinking. Whether it takes off in golf, I don't know. We'll see. But the decisions, it was very tough. And I had some good talks with both sides, with my agent, Butler Melnick, and my family and LIV early on. And I was actually in March. And then I was playing pretty good right around the Masters time and playing pretty good right at Hilton Head. And when we were expecting our second child 3 weeks later, had a chance to actually win Hilton Head. I was one back with 4 to play and an untimely shot on 15 that year. I did not end up winning, but was playing some good golf. And so then I took 4 weeks off to kind of enjoy and help my wife out with our second child that was on the way. And I didn't touch a club for a couple weeks, and I was working hard in the gym at that time, but I noticed that my right hip was like really starting to bother me. And I don't know if it was from some of the swing changes that I'd made, that I thought was actually really good at the time because I had won back in January. But I knew something was kind of wrong, and it just was hindering me. And so when we had, my wife gave birth to our daughter and everything was great there and life was, rolling, except for this lingering injury. And when I came back, started playing some golf, I think my first one back was Byron Nelson and in Dallas. And I could barely get through the week because my hip was killing me so bad. The next one, I missed a cut that week by like 1 or 2, go to the PGA and end up getting a shot like in my hip to try to numb it up. And it wasn't great. And so the talks after the PGA became pretty real with LIV because like you said, they were giving out a bunch of money. It was pretty enticing. Never had anything guaranteed in my life. Had 3 surgeries prior to that. And I didn't really know what was going on. I just knew something was wrong. So, I talked to Catherine more about it. We had our second child. I was like, if we're going to kind of pursue this, you would rather get in early rather than late. Especially, I think I was, mid 60s in the world. I'd won the previous 2 seasons, or that season and the season before, which had got me in a pretty good place, obviously. But the decision was not an easy one. I knew I was going to take some heat for doing this. Didn't know how much heat I was actually going to take, but it was definitely some tough times for sure. But that was kind of a lot of my decision making in it. I was intrigued by LIV, and I know I feel like the actual events are really good over there. If you go on and actually partake in the events, I know but like everything, it's a startup and rules change all the time. There's not a ton of transparency up front. So yeah, that was the most difficult part of all of that once I got there.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that rules change because you played in the first ever LIV event back in, I think it was London, back in 2022. Yep. At that point, what was your understanding of how playing in that event would affect your PGA Tour membership? And did anyone go over there playing in London believing that they were just going to come back to the PGA Tour with no suspension or any sort of repercussions?
No, we knew there would be some repercussions. I knew that, I'd be suspended for a little while, didn't know how long. So yeah, there was definitely some unknowns there, but I didn't think like it would be able to be this fractured for this long, to be honest with you. And I don't think any of us really did. I thought, I still think that it needs to come together, but I just don't know how it's going to come together because both sides want to play a short, condensed schedule, and there's not enough weeks in the year. So I mean, as a golf fan, and I'm a traditional golf fan, like you want to see the best playing together. And this division, I don't think is great for the game, but on the flip side of that, I think competition makes everything better. So I think the PGA Tour needed to be challenged, and their hand kind of needed to be shaken up a little bit because they've had it. They've had the best product for a long time, and there just really hasn't been some competition to stir the PGA Tour, if you will.
Yeah, it definitely brought about some changes. Obviously, a lot more money in the game now. But just take us through like what it's like playing over there, because Sleaze and I don't think neither of us have ever been to an event. We see it on social media and everything. But what are some of the things you liked about the LIV Tour, and what are some things that you didn't like?
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed traveling and going and seeing. Like on the PGA Tour, I was not afraid to go to, the Malaysia events or go to Asia and play or leave the country. I enjoy kind of going and seeing. So I thought that part was actually intriguing. I enjoyed going to a bunch of different countries, playing, in front of different crowds, just playing in front of people that really enjoy the game. So that part was very intriguing to me. And I enjoyed the travel. I enjoyed a little bit a shorter schedule. Maybe 12 events is not quite enough, but add a few more would have been really good in the condensed the schedule. You can sit there with your family on January 1 and kind of plan some vacation time, which is very hard to do on the PGA Tour. There's a lot of times where you plan something and then you tell your wife the week before, like, we can't do this, or I can't be there. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you how many times I've had to do that, and my wife gets irritated, but she knows the program. Was just part of it. And so I thought that was very intriguing. And with the home life, I thought it was going to be a lot better. And it honestly was for the family time. It really was. Things I didn't like, the lack of transparency, the rule changing kind of, you never knew where we stood week to week or what was going to change. I did have a long-term contract, so a couple years didn't affect me, but rules were changing against guys that were playing, very mediocre and whatnot. So it was tough. I would try to get answers on certain different fronts, and it was tough. When I had my injury, to get answers, it was very tough. I basically created their injury policy, and I still don't think it's very black and white over there. But it's that part was a little. It kind of weighed on me, honestly. That was when I honestly kind of started second guessing my decision, how I was kind of dealt with my injury. I mean, there's injuries in sports. Like, it's going to happen. People are going to sit out and you're going to have to miss times. It just is what it is. And the way that it was handled, I did not think it was very good until it was almost too late. But then they came back and, honored my contract, and, I got my year back and played last year and played very poorly. That was on me, but got my chance. But honestly, in the middle of the year, I didn't know if I was going to get that chance. So that part, I thought, would have really kind of crippled the tour going forward, based on somebody getting hurt. And, that's kind of your chance and it's over. Like, I don't think that would have sat very well going forward with guys.
Yeah. Hud, I wonder, you're talking about the things you liked there, you didn't like, or you would change. I'm going to give you some of the narratives that come up, whether they're fair or not. These are some of the things that are said about LIV. As a guy who played on, I want you to tell me, there's some truth to that, or no, that's a bologna sandwich. No truth to it whatsoever. So the first one that comes up the most is all right, guys go to LIV, they get paid a ton of money, and then they stop caring and don't work on their game very hard. Truth or not?
Not even close. I mean, it was super competitive.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, guys are grinding. I mean, I saw Phil Mickelson, I saw Brooks, I saw Dustin working harder on their game at events than I ever did on the PGA Tour.
Interesting. Yeah, I kind of think that narrative has been way overblown, as if the guys on the PGA Tour aren't making shit pots of money too, but yet somehow they still find a way to care and grind. Another one, the no-cut 54-hole events, which has gotten interesting with the way the PGA Tour has changed their schedule. But no-cut events, 54-hole events, don't prepare LIV guys for major championship success. Thoughts?
I mean, plenty of guys have had success in major championships. I mean, even down Richard Bland winning a couple major championships on the senior tour. You've had, you have Bryson and Brooks win. You've had guys be competitive. But like I said, guys go to major events and they do everything different from what they've done all year and the way they prepare. So they put these tournaments up on their pedestal, as they should, and you kind of train all year for it. But I just don't think you should treat majors any differently than you would treat a normal week in preparing, if that makes sense. And I feel like some guys, some really good golfers, you can kind of over prepare and wear yourself down early in the week.
We're going to step away for a moment to tell you that this podcast is supported by Carlile Companies, a leading manufacturer of innovative building envelope systems. With buildings responsible for over a third of total energy use and energy demand on the rise, Carlile is meeting the challenge head on. Carlile's advanced energy efficient and labor-saving solutions help reduce strain on the grid while reducing labor for contractors. A great example of Carlile's latest innovations is Henry Ultra Touch Recycled Denim Insulation, made from sustainable recycled denim cotton clothing fibers. Henry UltraTouch delivers high thermal performance for improved energy efficiency while being safe to handle and easy to install, making it ideal for residential use in wall studs, ceiling joists, and between open roof rafters. Made with 80% recycled denim, UltraTouch diverts nearly 20 million pounds of textile waste from landfills each year. UltraTouch insulation is just one example of how Carlile is working towards a more sustainable future. Learn more at carlile.com. That's CARLISLE.com. Now back to Hudson Swafford.
What about the schedule situation? Because obviously you have 14 events over there that are set in stone, and obviously you have to play them. I mean, you're under contract. Yeah. You're not skipping them. But has there been any pushback from like the LIV guys? Because some guys like playing the week before the majors. Some guys don't. When it comes to the schedule, are there any like complaints from some of these big name guys? I mean, obviously like Bryson, Brooks, Dustin, they're all in majors. They're major champions. But some of them might not want to play the week before, but you're kind of forced to with LIV.
Yeah, I think the overall consensus is most guys wanted to play the week before. I know some guys wanted more events before the Masters, so they've been working on that. I think they kind of addressed that this year a little bit better, because there was, I think, the last few years there was only a couple of events, and I know Brooks went and played international series just to get some more competitive rounds before Augusta. So there's definitely been some talks. I'm not involved with any talks really now, but I know there's been some talks about adding a couple more events to the schedule and maybe getting up to 16 events, maybe 17 events, to where in that condensed time frame from February to August, to where some guys feel like they are in good shape going into different majors. But as a scheduling thing, I think that some of the, John Rahms, like Brooks, Bryson, they really push to have some more events before Augusta just to prepare them for major season.
I think another thing, Sleaze, not to jump in here on you at all, but like the world ranking points. We had Carlos Ortiz on here, and he said flat out, like, I was told we were going to get world ranking points before I went over there. And obviously that has not happened. What was that discussion like with you? Because I know that's a big concern for a lot of guys.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I was very down. I mean, I couldn't believe it when we went into a meeting, just a whole player meeting, and they're like, yeah, we're just withdrawing our application. I'm like, why? You just giving up? Like, we came over here on this consensus that you were going to fight for us and everything, and it doesn't matter what. And so it just kind of like threw our hands up, and it's like, well, we didn't get it. And it's like, nah, that's kind of bullshit. But I had some great talks with Peter Dawson a couple years ago at the Dunhill. Played 9 holes in a practice round with him, and we just kind of talked about it. And he said that he would love to give LIV world ranking points, but at the beginning and at that time, he was just like, and he's like, the turnover. We were talking about the cut at 24, so that was half the guys at the time. He goes, I think that's kind of harsh. He's like, I don't even need to see that kind of turnover. He was talking about maybe 35 or 38 guys keep their card, but that's a hard cut. If you're not there, you get relegated, you're out, you go to the Q school. And he goes, if we had turnover, like a definitive turnover, and we knew that, and we knew that guys were just kind of getting handpicked to be on LIV, or you weren't with the right agents, you because you were with an agency, you were on LIV. Like, that kind of just took away some credibility. And he said that, I would, if there was a true cutoff and everybody abided by those rules and you had to go to like a Q school, then he goes, the talks would be real. He's like, LIV's not personally for me. That's what he was telling me, because he's a traditional golf guy. But he goes, I love that there's new competition and that it's traveling around the world. It's, bringing golf to areas of the world that have craved it, that haven't had access to it. So he liked all those components, and he wanted to give world ranking points, but I don't know the miscommunication, because I wasn't in small meetings with that, but it just seems like things could have changed to get those world ranking points.
Yeah, and I think it's been long enough. When it first started, I was like, okay, this is a brand new tour. They don't know how to weight this thing, giving points. Like, that's going to take some time. I think it's been around long enough now that it's bullshit. It's like, all right, dude, you got some world-class golfers over there. They shouldn't be getting 0 points. Would it be easier, do you think, or what would be better, I guess, if you could pick, if you're playing on the LIV Tour, all right, we're going to start getting world golf ranking points for our events going forward? Or would it be better if they just said, okay, LIV, it's 10 guys get in the major championships based on your rankings, your criteria, whatever you want to do it? Which one do you think would be more well received? And that number could change, obviously. 10,
yeah,
12, I don't know what it is.
I think both. I think there's a way that they can get world rankings, right? Like the PGA Tour, if it gets ranked, 72 holes get ranked out, you have to get 54 holes in to be an official world ranking, to get official world ranking points. So everybody would argue with me like, well, it's bullshit. You only play 54 holes. And I was like, well, we only have to complete 54 holes on the PGA Tour to get world ranking points. And everybody's like, really? And I was like, yeah, so you don't need to bring that argument to me. And I definitely think that if you go through the season and you're top 10 on LIV, like you've had a really good season over there against a very competitive group of guys. So I think they should be awarded something in the majors. And I think the majors are taking to that now. So they're not naive to it. Half the guys that have played in the majors for the last decade are over there. So, or a couple decades really. So it's, I think they are addressing that. And my last year, they were being very proactive. The majors were about inviting LIV guys and starting to invite LIV guys there based on some criteria over there. So it needs to happen. And how you get world ranking points over there, I'm not sure. But I do think they deserve it in some manner. Now, I don't think every guy 1 through 54 deserves it, but there's a cutoff and there could be something.
It's interesting. Yeah, you said that about as far as like getting on the tour and getting off the tour is one of the big holdups, is what Peter Dawson said. I find that like fascinating because I've always said that all along. Like you have 54 guys or whatever, how many ever the number is now 60. And it's like, okay, you start the season here, you play like shit. There's like a couple of guys that get relegated. They made some new rules so the captains could stay on last year with Bubba Watson and stuff like that. Like that just blew my mind. I was like, okay, you want to be a legit tour. You want to have guys coming and going, but yet one of your guys plays horrible and all of a sudden you're like, oh, never mind. He's okay. He's a big name. He can stay.
Yeah. Like you have to have a hard cutoff if you want to have a viable product. Like it just is what it is. Like if Bubba Watson or, myself or Brendan Grace, we don't play good. I mean, you go back to Q school. Or you go back to the Corn Ferry Tour, like it's not fun, but that's just part of it. And, you got to have a hard cutoff somewhere. You can't be wishy-washy.
Yeah.
If you want to actually have a backbone and go forward with it.
Yeah, it's got to be clear cut, and you got to stand by, I think, what you say the criteria is. But Hud, I know I believe you've had some conversations with people within the PGA Tour about potential return. What have you been told about that? What does that process look like? Like, where do you stand on that right now?
Yeah, I've had some good back and forth with the PGA Tour, but then some wishy-washy. It's still not set in stone. I know they've set up suspended until 27, which I know they're basing that on a couple people's contracts being up after the 26th season. So then they can kind of change rules in favor of everybody coming back. I know some guys that didn't have any status and, it's a hard 1 year, no PGA Tour sanctioned events, but then you can come back and play. So, but my problem is I come in and talk to them. It's like, okay, I can come back and play in 27. But what does 27 on the PGA Tour really look like? Is it no more opposite field events? Is it, they're already reducing fields? So I would go ahead and bet and say that the past champions category is pretty much done going forward after this year. I mean, we can agree or disagree, but it just seems like that. And they've kind of told me that. So I guess you can sign up for Monday qualifiers, but so really I'd be basically suspended until Q school of 27, if you will. And I was just like, this is just, I don't know how you can come up with a 5 or 5.5 year suspension, based on I guess I played 5 events that their thinking was I played 5 events while the PGA Tour season was going on in 22 that I wasn't able to get media releases for. So they're giving me a year for each of those, and it equaled 27.
That's interesting. I like that you brought up that 27 with people's contracts expiring at the end of 26. Do you think that's really the reason they have set 27 is because, I'm guessing it's the likes of Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, that their contracts are up at the end of 26?
Yeah. It'd be pure speculating, but I mean, there's a good hunch on that. I mean, but I don't know for sure. They have not told me that. They just said I was suspended till, January of 27.
Because you look at a guy like James Pyatt who played over there on LIV, and he just got a sponsor exemption into the Rocket in Detroit, and so I'm like, okay, so he gets to play. Yeah. He played on LIV. I know he's not was never a member of the PGA Tour, but he still went to LIV, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's playing in the PGA Tour. Because in my opinion, this is the one thing. Like, I've been very outspoken against LIV for the most part. Like, I think the only thing it's really done for the game of golf is brought more money to the players, which is great. But if a tournament wants to give Hudson Swafford or Dustin Johnson a sponsor exemption, and there's not a LIV tournament opposite, I don't have a problem with that.
Correct. Like, that's that. I mean, I think the sponsors should be able to do whatever they want, right? Yeah. How much money are they paying now? They're paying a ton. So I think they should be able to do what they want. And one thing I do disagree with on Scotty Scheffler, and I've seen in a couple press conferences, is that he said that, the media should just go over to the LIV Tour wherever they're playing and ask the tours, ask those players why the tour's divided. And I'll be honest with you, the whole consensus of the LIV players, they would play the PGA Tour events. They would play PGA Tour events. Now, whether they get in 15 events, I don't know, but they would love to go play a number of events on the tour and still that they, love to play. I would love to go play Amex. I would love, a place that I've won at twice. There was a number of events that I would have still tried to play if I was allowed. So they kind of created this narrative that the LIV guys don't care about the PGA Tour, don't want to be a part of it, when in all reality, like, everybody would go back and play a number of events on tour, but that's just not allowed.
Yeah, I mean, John Rahm's been outspoken. Like, he said it sucks when he's sitting at home and the Phoenix Open's going on. Torrey Pines is one of his favorite places. The players, all these. Yeah. Like, I get it. But at the same time, like, just on the side of the PGA Tour, it's like, okay, LIV has 14 events. You have to play those. I mean, that's why they're paying y'all a shit ton of money. You have to play those. And the PGA Tour, like, I get, like, they're not going to be okay with guys just cherry picking 5 events. Like, they have a minimum, and you have to meet that. And the top guys in the world, they're not going to play 30 events a year anymore.
Totally agree. But those guys might make the playoffs only playing 5 events, right? And the majors. So, yeah, okay, you're not a full member of the PGA Tour, but you can compete and try to play in the playoffs, and you will keep your card, but you don't get full retirement. You don't get your health insurance, stuff like that. So I feel like the two products, and I understand where PGA Tour players are coming back. They don't want these guys coming back and cherry picking from events, but if you had a couple PGA Tour teams per se that, you could rotate guys in and out through the LIV schedule that could go over there that maybe qualified through the FedEx Cup. I just think that the only people that are winning in this are the majors. And I honestly think LIV's suffering from it, and I think the PGA Tour is suffering from it. And both of them are very hard-headed and don't want to give an inch. So it makes it tough. I mean, the only people that are winning are the 4 majors, because it's awesome watching the majors right now. There's the storylines. You kind of get some villains to come back in there. I think the PGA Tour is kind of lacking some villains. I mean, it's, everybody's kind of best friends, and that's the story narrative right now. And you got to have the guy that you want to pull against that's really good in golf. And when it all comes back together, the majors, like, it is an exciting time.
What's your gut feeling? And you can decline this question if you want, but you're talking about your situation here, right? Coming back and what you're being told. Let's go to the end of those contracts for the guys we talked about. Bryson, Brooks, Rahm. They're kind of in a different ballgame, a different class than a lot of the other players. What do you think they will choose to do when their contracts run out? And if you were the PGA Tour and those guys' contracts ran out and they said, hey, I want to come back and start playing, how would you handle them?
Man, I don't know. That is a good question.
It's a big question, but yeah.
No, it is. Yeah. I mean, you got to look at it on this side. All these tour guys got equity in the tour, right? So how would you not want Bryson and Brooks and the likes of Dustin and John Rahm, Joaquin Neiman, all these good players to come back? That's going to increase your value, right?
Yeah.
Like your tour is going to get better with them coming back. But are you really going to stick up your nose and be like, we don't need them because of a decision that they made? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating.
Tough. Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
It's going to be real interesting once these contracts come up. Like, what is going to happen? I guess one of my questions for you, who have played both, it's just we look at the ratings and everything, and you can say streaming app, whatever you want, but why do you think LIV has not been a huge success as far as like the American TV audience?
Buddy, that was a question I brought up to numerous LIV workers. I was like, what is y'all's goal? What is y'all's main goal? And the main consensus was a big US TV deal. And I was like, okay, then why aren't we disrupting the US TV market? Why aren't we playing in the US more? We're leaving the country more. We're playing in time zones that are far away from the actual US. And I go, like it or not, like people don't watch tape delayed sports.
No, you already know the result. Yeah.
Yeah. You can go to your phone and you get the results. Like you're not watching it. Like it just is what it is. And so I enjoyed the world travel and I like the world travel, but if this is your main goal of getting the US TV deal, then you've got to play, around that time zone, around those time zones. Whether we go to, South America, Central America more, I don't know. But you've got to have live action and tape delayed sports. I can't wrap my head around it. I don't think anybody else can.
I love that that's what they tell you is like they wanted to attract a US TV audience because all these people on Twitter, a bunch of the haters out there, they're like, we don't care about the US ratings. It's not all about America. It's about traveling the world and growing the game worldwide. And I get that, but I know they do care about those ratings, and those ratings are not good for them.
Yeah, no, I would agree. It's been challenging for sure. But like I said, I would go back to it that the actual events at LIV were fun. They were run very well. They put a great team in place on such a short notice. There was a lot of good crowds out of the country. So the support there, I mean, it was crazy to see like how much support really came out, and watching a really good group of players go around the world and kind of like starved markets really for really good golf. And, there was a bunch of positivity outside the US, and the narrative, it's been tough for LIV, honestly, in the US, and getting really good venues, but they know ultimately that they want a US TV deal. So that was my question. Like, how do we not play closer to that time zone a lot more?
Yeah, I'm very interested that you said that. Like, the main goal is an American TV deal. Because from where I stand, when I look around, I'm like, dude, this Australia event looks sick. There's a ton of people out there.
It's great.
London looks awesome. I think it was Mexico City. I was like, they got some great, like, it feels like more momentum internationally, just not necessarily in the States. And so that's why I'm like, I thought they would lean more into that. Like, we don't even need the States. You could have the tour in Australia. They'd probably show up every week because they're starved for golf down there. But what were some of the like best venues, best events that you played on LIV? Where'd you look forward to going?
Man, that Australia event was awesome, and I only got to play it once, and the crowds were unbelievable. I'm not going to say it's waste management, but they were good golf fans. They would give you shit if you hit a bad shot, but they really applauded you. And then they didn't heckle you, but they applauded good shots. And they were stacked deep. It didn't matter which group it was. So that was a really fun event. Honestly, when I thought LIV was really going to take off was the first year Miami Doral event. The crowds were incredible, and it was really like a team feel. and you had two guys playing match play, and then you had the 4-ball between the two others. Like, I thought that event was amazing. I thought it was fun. They needed to incorporate maybe 1 or 2 of those throughout the schedule, maybe even 3. I actually thought that I saw the team camaraderie. I saw guys pulling for each other. I saw fans actually engaging in the team thing and getting behind certain matches and certain players. So I was like, okay, this really does have some legs. And in player meetings, we'd always talked about adding more of those events because the first year at Doral was such a success. And obviously there's only still one. So like I said, I haven't been in any conversations. I know talking to the guys that the new CEO, Scott, is doing a great job. Everybody really likes him. So I know that they're going to come up with some new creative ways to, grab new audiences. And but it just goes back to the US TV deal. I don't know how you get a big TV deal if a number of your events are tape delayed.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's above my pay grade. I would ask the same question. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's just logic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I've learned is obviously you like the team aspect. Like for me, like it's really not for me. Like I love the Ryder Cup. President's Cup is what it is, but like team golf is every couple of years and it's fantastic. But it sounds like the sticking point between PGA Tour and LIV coming together is Yasser really wants to keep the team aspect together. How important do you think that is? Or is that something that maybe like I always thought like the team thing could be like during the fall series, like when football is going on. But like the main thing, like you grew up wanting to play on the PGA Tour, playing individual golf. This team thing was never really a thing. But for them, it's a big sticking point right now.
Yeah. It's still very individualized over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still stroke play. Now, this year have been voted on that all 4 scores count every day. So I think it's still got that individualized like golf mentality, and it's still a grind. But I think it is kind of cool to have that team component. Yeah, like you said, maybe the fall, but let's be serious. Nobody wants to go up against football. Nobody's watching golf in the fall. Like fact. It is what it is. Like it's a proven fact. Like nobody's watching golf. And that's why some of this, how this came up, like we were sitting around and, our FedEx Cup season started over in September. And if you weren't top 20 in the world, you were playing some events in the fall up to Thanksgiving. And it's just like, man, there's not a break. So that was intriguing.
Hey,
I do like the team aspect, like the Zurich. You can look at the Zurich, and it was in such a bad part of the schedule and the PGA Tour schedule, but a great venue in New Orleans. And they went to a 2-man deal. And in January, guys are teaming up and talking about what they're doing. They're playing practice rounds, testing their partner's ball. Like you're kind of getting ready for it. Team golf's fun. Like now, is it something that needs to be in place every event? I don't know. But I really enjoyed playing that event down in Doral the first year. Having that team aspect, and I wish they would have incorporated a number of events kind of like that. But I'm also a traditionalist, like a purist of the game. Like I love the 72 holes, go and compete and grind it out. So I wish they kind of had a mixture of both, to be honest with you. And I know that John Rahm is actually pushed for 72 holes over at LIV. Some guys have kind of, had some pushback, but I know there has been a group that has pushed for 72 holes for sure.
Yeah, I think with team golf, like it's hard to just trot something out day one and be like, everyone loves this. It's going to take time. And years down the road, team golf could play a bigger role in professional golf than it does right now. But Hud, I want to ask you this because I had a number of friends that jumped from PGA Tour to LIV. Colt did the same thing. And like when they jumped, when I heard, I called them, congratulated them. I was like, dude, that's awesome. Way to go. I want everyone to make the most money, make the best decisions for themselves. But the media, I feel like around golf created a ton of dissension between like PGA fans, LIV fans, right at the very beginning. I feel like it's kind of softening now. But for you personally, did you notice any change in your friendships or relationships with tour players? Forget fans, but players once you made that jump?
Yeah, it was, yes, big time. That was the toughest part. I mean, some of my good friends, saw some true colors, and I mean, time heals everything. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I have my reasons why I ended up, making that decision. But definitely there were some friendships fractured, and definitely just changed. I don't talk to, there's definitely a handful of guys that I don't talk to like I used to, not nearly as close. But time heals everything, and we'll see kind of how, things shake up there.
I feel like between the players, I think it has softened. Like, I don't think there's near as much tension as there used to be.
Yeah, no, there's not. There definitely has. Everything is definitely softened in that. I just think kind of the overall group, like, people probably just aren't as close as they used to be with some guys that stayed versus, left. And I was close with a number of guys over there that didn't like my decision, and we're all still buddies, but the friendships and the dynamics have definitely changed a little bit because of that.
Yeah. And I think that's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
That sucks.
It does.
It's a decision that doesn't affect him, and you're making
but I
it for
agree.
you.
Like, time, as you said, time heals all wounds, and I think things are starting to get back to a much better place. One last thing before we get to the E9, I want to ask about, because one of the rumors going around when LIV first came about is like, these guys are getting 10, 20, 50, $100 million. And as far as it relates to like the purse, when you play well, some guys, the rumor is they're not getting any more money from what they're, plus their guaranteed money. Like, they're kind of working against it, right? Like, if you got $100 million, you had to earn $100 million on the golf course before you started getting money. Was there any truth to that at all?
No, there was no truth to that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of bullshit flying around.
Everybody, I mean, you had to have that narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
The golf media had to create a narrative that is not a viable product. It's not a good product, and any way that we can kind of harm them, we will. But no, there was no truth to that at all, because I don't think too many guys would have signed up for that, to be honest with you.
These media people suck.
Fake news.
Everybody but you and Kiz, right?
That's right, Kiz. Kiz, I reached out to Kiz about some stuff. He wanted me to ask you some hard-hitting real estate questions.
Oh, boy.
Let's talk cap rates. I actually got one last question. One last question before we go. I want to know, like, because you go over there, I'm sure there's a bunch of dudes on LIV at the time when you made the switch that you weren't close with, or that you didn't know or hadn't played much golf with. Give me one or two
100%.
guys that when you made the move, got to know them, you're like, this guy's fucking awesome.
Matt Jones and I became really close through the LIV move. I mean, I was close with Harold. I played a lot of college golf against Taylor Gooch, and we were buddies, but didn't hang out quite as much as we did on LIV. Hung out a ton with him on LIV. Got closer with Phil. I mean, these guys were around all the time. There wasn't crowds during practice rounds. There wasn't crowds during Pro-Am, so those guys were around a lot more. I mean, Brooks was a couple years younger than me, played at Florida State. I grew up in Tallahassee, so I've known Brooks for a long time. Played against Dustin for a long time in amateur golf and whatnot. But it was just kind of like a traveling fraternity. I mean, everybody was staying pretty much at the same places and going to eat. So it got to know kind of the whole group really. And you don't really have that on the PGA Tour because there's a lot more options, right? Some guys rent houses, some guys stay here. But when you're in a foreign country, like you're at a really nice hotel and we've got a number of the floors rented out and we've got a, player area and everybody's eating dinner together. I would say I got to, be a lot closer with Lee Westwood and those guys that, yes, I've played with, talked to, but hadn't really shared a meal with, shared stories with. So it was awesome having the, different generations of guys just telling stories. And when they were first on tour about, older generations. I thought that part was cool. And then you had guys that have never played in a tour event, listening to Phil Mickelson tell stories, listening to Lee Westwood, Dustin, Brooks. I mean, it was a lot more engaging in that matter. So everybody became pretty close because we were all on this one island that had a black cloud over it in the golf golf world. So we all kind of just stuck together and we had a good time traveling with each other.
Why can't it be like the good old days where everyone got along, shared a bedroom at the Burke's house right across the street from
those were good times. Good times in Northeast Amner.
How good were the Burks? Me and Hud shared a room together, Sleaze.
Oh, yeah? How's he as a roommate, Hud?
Terrible, but
what are you talking about? You snore so loud.
We had great times at the Burke's house. Like I would never trade any amateur days for anything. It was probably the best time.
Those were the best. Miss Burke said, "Listen, there's a cooler in the basement. I'm not saying you can have it. I'm not saying you can't, but just do whatever you want."
Just letting you know there is a cooler.
There is a cooler down there. It's Stoltz.
Oh man, Am Golf, Jicky Jack. That's all the good shit, man. Back in the days, the good times.
Northeast Am, warming up in the basement and just sending it off the first tee. Nothing better.
Everything was so simple back then, Colt.
God, it was. It was so simple. But all right, let's get to the E9 here, Sleaze. I'm going to let you start it off.
All right, Hud, I'm going to give you the option on this one. We kind of bounced around this first question. I'm going to give you pick one of the two, or you can do both. I need to know Hudson Swafford's childhood crush. Since you're a married man with children, I won't ask current, although if you have a current, feel free to throw it out. Or a movie being made about your life, who plays you? I think I have that answer, too, by the way.
Who?
I actually got one for him too. I think that could play him.
So childhood crush or actor, or both?
Ooh. I mean, childhood crush. Man, that was when Nickelodeon was.
Oh yeah.
Well,
some viable options on Nickelodeon.
Actually, there was you.
I feel like you're nervous to answer this question.
Dude, it's okay. It's a safe space.
I mean, a wife with 3 kids.
This is childhood.
Back in the day.
Though.
Yeah, it is back. It is back in the day. I mean, Kelly Kapowski was Saved by the Bell.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was. I mean, I woke up every Saturday and definitely watched Saved by the Bell.
If you didn't, there was something wrong with you. If you're like our age,
I mean,
you did
100%.
love Kelly Kapowski, then something's off.
I mean, it was pretty incredible.
Sleaze, who would you have said to play him in a movie?
Don't know his name. Don't know his name off the top. The dude from Shawshank Redemption.
Okay. Don't know
Andy
his name.
Dufresne.
I don't either.
Yeah, Andy Dufresne. We know him.
Greatest movie of all time, maybe, or one. It's one of the greatest.
Yeah, I mean,
I was gonna say Luke Wilson. I feel like could pull off your look.
Yeah, he could.
Oh yeah, Luke. I was thinking the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Luke for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. This is an easy one. Just 5 years from now, are we all back together, or does LIV still exist?
Man, I hope there's something that's integrated. To be honest with you, but I don't know because I know PGA Tour wants to play a little bit shorter schedule and condensed. Like they don't want to go up against. They want to start around the Super Bowl. They want to end before college football. So how many weeks do you really have between there that the two can exist?
Here's my thought on this, and I agree with you like about the off season. Like golf fans aren't ever starved for golf because it's basically 50 weeks a year. Like they have like 2 weeks off in December, and then boom, we're right back. Like make the golf fan get excited. Like we're counting down the days till football starts. So why not end? Exactly. So why not end? August, maybe early September, and have a few months off where everyone's like, you know what? I haven't watched professional golf in several months. I cannot wait for the Century. I cannot wait for Hawaii to get going and these guys be back to playing. Like they're never starved for it. That's why I feel like the ratings are never what they could be.
I totally agree. Maybe the season goes a little bit longer. It does overlap with college football and NFL, and you end, the end of September, but it's done. There's no real talks about it. If you do have an injury, you can have some time to get it addressed versus middle of the season and you're just sitting out and then you come back at the tail end of the season. There needs to be downtime. Every sport has downtime. and the fans get fired up about it again. But it's a saturated product.
Yep. Fair.
All right, since college football came up there, I know you're a big fan. This one involves college football, okay? And since you're in the business world now, I got a new business idea for you. I want to know if you're in or out. We can go 50-50 on this deal, but I think we make trillions on it, okay? We're going to start an Uber-type service, private driving service, but only for University of Georgia football players, since none of them can drive themselves without getting arrested, it seems like. Do you want in?
Absolutely.
Say less.
No, I want my players to be on the field, but
get them out the car.
I mean,
they just had another one.
I mean, I can't say that I made the best decisions when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. I mean, I was hanging out with Colt all the time.
It's true.
That's true.
Hey, I was a good boy back then.
But they're all driving. It's not even like a bar fight. It's like they just can't get behind the wheel of a car without like thinking it's Grand Theft Auto or something.
Hey, you can
totally
tackle
agree.
really well and drive like shit. Georgia's the place for you.
You can still make it. Anyways, I'll send you the prospectus on that, HUD. But we're gonna retire off of this.
We're gonna make money. We'll make money in that business venture.
Okay, you're in.
All right, we can stay on Georgia here because I mean, Coach Hack has just produced so many great players. It feels like every other player on the PGA Tour in professional golf went to the University of Georgia. Give me your all-time. This is back in college days. All-time top 5 Georgia Bulldog golf team.
Damn, this is gonna be a squad.
No, you can't pick yourself.
This is gonna be a squad.
Just like the actual team, or just the collective guys.
You can pick them from any era and put them together.
Well, you gotta put Nick Cassini in there, a Walker Cupper. He was a stud. Maybe struggled a little bit in the pro golf ranks, but I mean, first team All-American.
Yeah, this is just from college, so I like that pick.
Yeah. Ryuji Yamada.
Oh, he was a beast.
God, I love that man.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the best college players. Their team won nationals, and he was a big part of that. So I'd say those two guys were on that team. Chris Kirk, I think, won
everything
15 times his last 2 years in college. I mean, incredible college player. So definitely Kirky. Russell Henley had an incredible college career, won the Haskins Award, played with him. I didn't know if he would ever miss a putt. He was the best putter I've ever seen. It was fun competing against him day in, day out. He made me a better player.
That's 4.
It's a good team.
One more.
And then you're between Harry and Harm. I mean, both of them had incredible college careers and were great teammates and great players. So I don't know if you can do just 5.
You can't go wrong. I mean,
you really can't. And then I played with a guy, close friend today, Adam Mitchell. Walker Cupper, great college player. So yeah, 5's tough, man.
5's very tough. It is.
Yeah,
I'll tell you a sneaky one too that I know was a big part of one of the national championships team. That Richard Scott,
Dickie,
very overlooked. Won 3 Canadian amateurs, and that's an unbelievable feat. Another great college player, and was a integral part of winning a national championship and winning multiple SEC championships.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Honestly, it'd be tough. Maybe you bump Ruji out. Sorry, Ruji.
By the way, I've ever told you that I'm still mad at Wuji from 2010 when we were on the Corn Ferry tour. We were down in Panama, and I was playing blackjack, and he comes up and he's standing there, and he's got a cup, and I was like, "What are you drinking?" And he's like, "Oh, Crown and Ginger." He's like, "You want to try it?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." Took a little sip. It was his dip cup.
Oh shit!
That's Ruji for you.
That happens.
I was like,
once.
"You motherfucker, Ruji."
I'm
still mad at him. Yeah.
Oh man.
God, I love that guy though. He's a beauty.
Those are good names, dude. Richard Scott, Lil Dicky. Before there was a Lil Dicky, I forgot about it.
Great college player.
Yeah.
Hackers had a lot of success. There's no question about it.
That's a good team. You could pull 5 Georgia guys and get 5 different lineups completely too. That's when you know you got some
100%.
some depth.
That's a tough one.
All right.
Tough one.
Next one, HUD. Kind of along the same lines, but Sea Island.
Yeah.
It's a hub
Yeah.
for all dudes down there in the Southeast. All right, you're having a Ryder Cup, Sea Island Ryder Cup. You're captain, and you get number 1 pick in the draft. Who's your first pick out of Sea Island?
I'm taking that little angry Harmon.
Yes, that little angry Harmon. I love that.
Okay.
He'd be it. Yeah.
Is he the best down there at like Sea Island games?
I'm not going to sit here and say Harmon doesn't play a ton of games at home, to be honest with you. Patton probably plays more games than anybody and down there. But man, I've always loved Harmon's fire for the game, and he's a fiery individual, and it's fun competing against him. I've competed against Harmon since I was 10 years old, and went to school with him. We've definitely butted heads, but we've also been, good friends for a long time. So, yeah, I mean,
he's a good one, man.
The golf that he's played the last couple of years has been pretty incredible.
Man, he's in a game that's just dominated by power players. He has just had an unreal career.
It's awesome.
100%.
It's awesome. And a lot of it is that angriness in him. I mean, that fiery plays
absolutely.
Plays with that chip on his shoulder. All right, next one. Do you remember what you said to your caddy, DJ Nelson, before you tapped in for your first win out in Palm Springs?
I do not.
I reached out to DJ. Need a couple of things. So you said you had 2 putts to win. You lagged it up to like a foot or so. It was obviously going to make it. And you walked over to the side of the green before you put it. And you go, I'm going to feel fucking terrible tomorrow.
Yes, I do remember that, actually. Yes. Yep.
That's beautiful. I love that. And then I heard you called him at like 5:30 the next morning and said, do you want to go play Augusta National with me when we go? Which is awesome on you. That is fantastic.
Yeah, that was a good trip. That was a good day. Played with Jeff Knox and actually had my dad. So it was an awesome day.
I heard you also called him a different name when you were mad, or when you made a mistake or were mad at him.
Don.
He goes by from? DJ, but when he's in trouble, he called him Don.
Correct. I always DJ, but it's Donald Nelson, and I would be like, Don, what are you doing?
Don?
It's like when your parents use your middle name. It's like, oh, fuck. I messed up.
Like,
they use my middle name.
Stern whole name, and you're like, oh, man, what did I do?
Damn. That's a problem.
Yeah.
All right, I got 2 more here. This was just kind of a fun one because I'd forgotten about this till I dug in a little bit. But how long did it take you to get over your PTSD from practice swings when your divot hit the ball at the Corn Ferry event and moved it?
That was gonna be one of mine. I was gonna say, are you the only person in history to get a penalty from directly behind the golf ball?
Someone else has done it. Yeah.
The same day at the BMW, Justin Rose did it.
There it is.
No way.
The same day.
The same way, like took a divot and hit the ball?
Same way, and I'm pretty sure it was the same day.
That's
on Sunday
incredible.
At BMW in 2012. And it was really not funny at that time, but I think my body language was a little better than Rosie's. So,
dude, I mean, you look like your dog just died when that happened.
It did. I was tied for second place, trying to get my tour card. Divot hit the ball. I was like, I don't know if I'm disqualified, 2-stroke penalty, 3-stroke penalty. Like, what just happened? I had to lay up on number 12 at Ohio State, par 5. Had to replace the ball, 1-shot penalty. Ended up getting up and down. I finished just like tied for 5th or 6th and got my tour card that day. So it's really funny now. But at the time, it was – and my caddy, Ryan Balcom, the expressions are –
I mean, dude, your shoulders went to the ground. I mean, you were just like, what the fuck just happened? And Balk, by the way, what is that man doing nowadays? He was a beauty.
He's one of the best, man. He's medical sales. I drove him right into retirement like I did PJ. He's in medical sales in Charlotte.
That's good.
Shit. That's a tough beat, dude. Those bent grass fairways, man, the things fly. What a shit rule, too, by the way, that's a penalty.
I've always taken practice swings behind the ball.
Yeah,
God. Yeah, you got to be careful on bent grass.
Yeah, you play Bermuda your whole life. You don't worry about that.
Yeah, it just explodes. No big deal.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. That and like Zach with his – by the way, that's a penalty, but yet Zach taking those little rehearsals right by the ball and hitting his ball off the tee all the time. No big deal. Just tee it back up.
No big deal.
Yeah.
I give him a hard time on that.
Oh, I'm like, dude, step a couple inches further back. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Did it twice at Augusta. I would just replay those for him.
It's so good. Well, Sleeves, my last one was about the divot as well. So go ahead with your last one.
I got one last one. All right. you going to show up? No, let's do it this way. Who has the best chance of pulling off a wife swap without being noticed? You and Harris English, or Chris Kirk and Brendan Todd?
Me and Harry. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, our names get. Everybody calls me Harris. I've gotten Harrison a lot, and I just from crowds, and I go, well, you're combining the two, so you're close.
Yeah.
I mean, I would get. It's incredible how much people get us confused. I mean,
well, didn't Kirk and Webb Simpson like switch at an amateur?
At the Azalea Amateur, I was actually staying with both of them in a house at the Azalea Amateur, and we had a rain delay or something, and we were drinking beers, and they might have gotten the idea, let's just switch bags and clothes tomorrow. And I'm like, it was you. I was like, y'all have at it.
I love it. Well,
it is tricky.
It is very tricky.
It's tricky. I think they look more like when they're golf clothes than honestly.
Yeah.
They're legitimately hard to tell apart, even if you're like immersed in golf like we are. Like sometimes I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, I just look for the walk. Like Webb is just so antsy going a million miles an hour, and Kirk's 100%. Just like, I'm in zero hurry to do anything.
Correct. Kirk is definitely in chill mode.
Yeah. Well, Hud, man, we appreciate you coming on with us.
Yeah.
Been a blast catching up with you. Giving us some insight on LIV. That was awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, boys. Good to see y'all.
All right, that was Hudson Swafford joining us on Subpar. Before we react to that, Sleaze, there's just something about custom gear. It looks better, feels better, and let's be honest, it plays better. We recently made some Birdie Juice gear, and the whole process was seamless. Super easy to design, and they turned out sick. You can build your own setup too. Hats, polos, hoodies, whatever you need, all from the top golf brands, and fully customized with your logo or design. So skip the off-the-rack stuff, head to shop.golf.com and make something your crew will actually want to wear. All right, Hudson Swafford, pretty interesting story. Giving us a little behind the scenes, what it's like over there at LIV. You know, a lot of people say they don't go over there, they don't work. It's all laid back. It's basically just a member guest. He said, look, everyone's out there grinding. Everybody's working hard. They take it very serious. It's obviously extremely different, but I love just hearing from someone that's actually played it and been there for 2 seasons, what it was like over at LIV.
Yeah, like credit to Hudson for coming on. We saw him up in New York. He was all in for it. And he's like, well, come in. We'll talk about the good, the bad. I wanted to give him a chance. Like, hey, he knows the narratives. Everybody knows the narratives. Put him to bed or say there's validity. He put those to bed, which I was glad to hear. There were some things that I found interesting, Colt, I guess, from the way I would think they would be going, from what it looks like from where I stand. It looks like they're international events, you know, like we mentioned Australia, Mexico City, some of the ones in Europe, like they seem to be well attended, some of their bigger events. And then when they come to the States, it's like not as much, I would say, minus maybe an event or two here or there. So I found it interesting that he's like, yeah, the goal was like a huge US TV contract where I feel like they would thrive like globally, pretty much from what I see, at least. And what I see, by the way, is like from social media, which is, you know, 90% trash.
Exactly. No, but it was great, man. I love learning more about this stuff. It's interesting. Like, he doesn't know his pathway back to the PGA Tour. He's thinking possibly 2027. And he said that's interesting how that lines up with when the likes of Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau's contracts expire. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. That's just kind of a theory he has, but love Hudson Swafford, man. Always rooting for him. He's such a good dude. He's a dog. And he's fun to hang out with, man. But let's get to it.
Hold on, let me ask you this just real quick since you brought it up. The 2027 thing with LIV. You're running the PGA Tour. 2027 comes along. Some of these big name guys from LIV, their contract's up and they express interest. Hey, I'd like to come back and play the PGA Tour. What do you do?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, obviously, like Bryson and Brooks, they're major champions. They have they would have status on the PGA Tour. Some guys wouldn't. I mean, I think if you have status, yeah, you can come on back. Especially, I mean, I think it's good for the game of golf. It's great for the PGA Tour if they got the likes of Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, I mean, a Joaquin Neiman back. But I know it's not going to be just that simple. Like, hey, come on back. Like, because you've got a lot of players over there that probably feel much differently than I do. But I don't know. I'm just looking for what's best for the game of golf, and I want the best in the world playing against each other as often as possible, like most people.
I think the PGA Tour would be doing itself a disservice if there's guys that have status over there on the PGA Tour, like the guys you mentioned, and they didn't just welcome them back. You got a chance to get the guys back. You got a chance to put more of the best players in the world on the PGA Tour. I think you do it. If players are sensitive about, hey, I had an offer and I didn't take it. Well, tough shit. You could have. If you got any beef with anybody, it's with the PGA Tour. They're the ones that implement the fines and the penalties and the things like that. I'd let them back with open arms and say, there you go. And if you don't have status, like, you're welcome back, but you got to qualify just like everybody else.
Commissioner Sleaze.
That's it. Do it.
You look more like a police officer right now, but whatever.
Look at this thing, bro.
It's so
I
gross.
tell you what, it's about to go. I'm sad. It's been like a week and a half maybe, but just for safety reasons, I can't go to the grocery store without just mobs of middle-aged women throwing themselves at me. It's really causing a rift around here. So I think this might be the last time you see it, bud.
Yeah, you can't go to the park. They ask you to kindly leave and quickly leave.
Exactly. I'm just walking up to cars and saying, do you have any idea how fast you were going?
You're an idiot. All right. Well, we might as well make a pick. See if we can. We both hit 2 weeks ago. We both whiffed this past week. My man Siwoo just let me down. Jesus, Siwoo, you're better than that. No passion at all.
Bud didn't
Memphis,
play the weekend either.
No,
tough scene.
Not only a top 20, they didn't even make the cut. So let's see if we can bounce back. Memphis, TPC Southwind, really good golf course. Going to be hot as shit. They're going to go crazy low. I'm going to tell you one because we had Wyndham Clark on the show earlier today over on Sirius XM, and he talked about you got to hit fairways at TPC Southwind. It's a great course for ball strikers. You get him at a top 10 at plus 230. One of the straightest shooters there is, Russell Henley.
I thought for sure we wouldn't have the same one because I was like, we normally do top 20s. I'm going to go top 10. I had literally everything you just said I had written down to say about Russell Henley. Plus 230.
Well, there it is. Let's go with it. Let's see.
Have we hit one when we've both been on it?
I don't know, but we're about to find out because we're going with it this week.
Yeah. And by the way, 4 consecutive top 10s coming into this thing, and he's well rested.
Come on, Rex, as his buddies call him. Bring it home for us.
Mm-hmm. All right. There you have it. One bet this week, apparently.
All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up.
You got it. Big shout out to our folks at Zone Nicotine. We're going to have an event up there. Hope to see everyone there. But warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Underage sale is prohibited. Listen, when I need to dial things in on the course, I go with Zone Nicotine Pouches. Why? 1, stronger nicotine intensity. The others aren't even close. And 2, better flavors. And 3, they last longer and they're more comfortable than any other pouch out there. My go-to is the 9 milli spearmint, by the way, but they make 7 flavors in both 6 and 9 milligrams. They are a game changer. 20 pouches per can versus 15 that the other guys offer. It's a no-brainer. I do not play 18 holes without at least one Zone can in my bag. You want Zone pouches at a discount and mailed right to your door? Head to nicokick.com. That's NICOKICK.com and enter code Subpar20 at checkout for an additional 20% off. Spearmint, 9 millis. Do yourself a favor. Get zoned in.
Hell yeah. Absolutely love it. All right. Thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you on next week's Subpar.